reminding yourself, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Kansas, Iowa State, get back on defense, Jayhawks.
He's a host now. Look at that.
Welcome to Big Monday, presented by Verizon. And this is a special scene. Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas. Iowa State and the Jayhawks, who have met once earlier this year in Ames, and it was a dandy. Iowa State won that game, but the Jayhawks sit atop the conference. That was their only loss, and the Cyclones have been beaten back twice. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Brent Musburger, along with Fran Fraschilla. We'll hear from Holly Rose shortly. And, you know, Fran, it's interesting because Iowa State really ran the Jayhawks out of the court in Ames.
Boy, they sure did, Brent. They not only scored 27 points in transition, but 13 of those points came after Kansas scored. So they put it right back on them, and Kansas has to make sure they stop Iowa State from running tonight.
Give us two players to watch and reasons why.
Well, these two guys are the ideal college players, Georges Niang and Perry Ellis. Why? Neither one of them was a one-and-done guy. All that's going to happen to these two guys is have very, very prolific careers at their respective schools.
And Holly Rowe, Niang is a special target here tonight.
That's right. There's very few players in the country that can say they've scored in double figures every game of their career against the Kansas Jayhawks. But Georges Niang has. He's averaging 16 points a game over 3 years in every game against the Jayhawks. Bill Self said the keys to guarding him tonight, don't go for his shot fake. Know that he likes to spin back to the basket and no separation on ball screen defense. But the most important thing, make him defend somebody, tire him out on the defensive end.
And Holly joining Niang in the starting lineup for Coach Fred Hoiberg. It's a familiar starting five for those of you who have followed the Cyclones. Morris is your point guard, perhaps underrated in the conference. Long, who was a great shooter in that Saturday night win. Dejean-Jones, Hogue, and of course Georges Niang, their leading scorer. Now for the home team, Bill Self's Kansas Jayhawks. Frank Mason will start at the point. Selden, Oubre, who's rapidly improving. Traylor, one of the juniors, along with Perry Ellis, who Fran told you about. And so, Fran, terrific coaching matchup here tonight.
No question, Brent. Watching both teams prepare, you're talking about two of the masters in college basketball. There'll be subtle adjustments made on both sides that we'll point out to you from both Fred Hoiberg and Bill Self. This is a chess match between the coaches. The players ultimately will decide this game.
Terrific officiating crew here tonight, led by Mark Whitehead along with Tom Eads and Doug Sermons. So settle back, folks. There is a lot at stake here tonight. The Jayhawks have won 19 in a row. And Iowa State has won 2 in a row against the Jayhawks. Remember, they beat them in the Big 12 tournament last March in Kansas City. So settle in, because this crowd is always alive. But it seems to us here tonight that this is a special, special night. Call it payback night for this fan group. And the main event is underway. Ellis handles the ball first for the Jayhawks, who will be working in front of the Iowa State bench in the first half. And they turn it over on their first possession.
Scouting report defense. Brent Hogue smelled out the duck in. Helped off. Great play.
Tried to get Niang. Loose ball. Jayhawks get it back. Got numbers. Easy layup. Oubre. puts the Hawks ahead.
Both coaches went to their bread and butter. Both defenses did a terrific job.
What you must withstand, and Allen, is that early burst by Kansas. And that three helps right there, knocking it down. Naz Long, and he was a terrific shooter in that Saturday night win.
And we talked about it earlier, Brent. First 5 minutes for Iowa State. Don't want to get knocked out. Just stay in this game.
Mason penetrates, kicks Ellis. Niang cuts him off baseline, knocks it out of bounds. .13 on the shot.
Watch the back cut by Ellis here.
Mason on a high pick and roll goes in, and he's fouled.
Well, that's the other key matchup. We talked about Ellis and Niang, but Frank Mason III has been the most valuable player of this Jayhawk team this season, and we know what Monte Morris is about.
Quick feed in on the inside, and Kelly Oubre with his second field goal of the night. Good defense inside by Kansas on that drive by Dejean-Jones.
When you guard Iowa State, Brent, you've got to be responsible for all 5 players on the floor. Look at this, quick.
Nailed a three.
Yep.
Catch and shoot Niang.
And Traylor wasn't paying attention. He was not seeing the ball and his man.
And the foul is going to be called at the offensive end. Eads had a very good look at that offensive foul, and that was on Traylor.
Watch Traylor. He's not even watching, Brent. Ball comes to Niang, and he gets it off quickly.
Long gives it up. Here's Mason. Mason, Niang's got him. Mason stays swatted away by Ho. Get that out of here.
Niang did a terrific job of backpedaling and protecting the rim. Mason's trying to get to the rim. Look at Niang, and that sets up the block by Ho.
Selden off the dribble. One and done. Dejean-Jones pulls the trigger. Great rebound by Hogue. Hit the baseline, turned it over.
Boy, is there a better, more underrated player in the Big 12 than Dustin Hogue?
Ellis, three misses. Not getting offensive rebounds, the Jayhawks here so far.
You know why? They're getting everybody back in transition.
Yeah, there's no easy run-out shots here so far by Iowa State, Frank. Just what you said. Yeah. Kicks Morris going to gun the three. They're making him shoot at the perimeter. They would love to keep him there all game long. Dejean-Jones trying to save it. It's a wrestling match down low and a foul.
Kelly Oubre has grown up in the last month or so. We've talked about how much he sat on the bench in the early part of the year. And his effort level, along with that terrific athleticism, has made him a really key part of this Kansas team.
That was on Dejean-Jones. He picked up one. Morris already has one. Traylor has the foul for the Jayhawks. Oubre, the freshman, misses this time. Yeah, there's no run out. There is 3 white jerseys back, Frank. Just what you're talking about.
And by design, Brent, absolutely.
Niang taps back. No, loose. Here comes Mason, man in the middle. Got wingmen. Selden on the free throw line. So when you come back after this timeout, Selden will be at the free throw line shooting a pair.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network, and in part by Sonic's new Lil Doggies.
Slow shooting start for both teams here tonight. 6-4 Iowa State with an early lead. And, Fran, there's that transition points that the Cyclones scored in.
Right, and this is the adjustment that Kansas made at practice yesterday. Watch when the shot goes up. These 3 guys not even thinking offensive rebound. They're getting back, and you'll see as Iowa State's got the ball, there's at least 3 back, a 4th white jersey coming into the play, but no runouts. Want to force Iowa State to play 5-on-5.
Iowa State shooting 2 of 8, and both of their field goals 3-pointers. They've missed their last 5 as Selden comes up to the free throw line here to shoot. That foul against Long is the 3rd foul against Iowa State. There's only 1 against Kansas, as you're keeping track of that here. And of course, if you get a team into foul trouble here in the early going, that really helps.
Without a question. Yep. Yeah, especially at home, Brent. In the first meeting, Kansas did not shoot a free throw in Ames in the first half.
And they certainly have here today.
Yes, they have.
Mason picks up Morris in the backcourt, slows down that attack again. Keeping him far out of the paint so far. Morris guarded off the dribble. Traveled and turned it over as the Hogs went down, and that's the 4th turnover here in the early going against this Jayhawk defense.
Minus that 3-pointer by Niang. Kansas has done a good job of playing inside the 3-point line.
Jameel McKay checks in. He played very well in that first game, and Long sits down. Self has also inserted Cliff Alexander during that timeout. Number 2 is working in the low post. Freshman out of Chicago. McKay's on him. It's Mason for the lead, and Alexander couldn't quite control it. And now Iowa State up with the J off the front of the iron, and no good. Dejean-Jones missing that shot. Selden right back at him. Inside Ellis for an easy shot. Couldn't put it down. Battle for the rebound. Hogue pulls it away. Hogue very aggressive in the early going.
There's a lot of the dirty work.
This is shaping up like a dirty work kind of game, too, Frank, I might add. Over the top, Niang off McKay's hands. It'll go to the Jayhawks on another turnover.
Watch this, Brent. Watch the 2 big guys run down the floor. Ellis does a great job of doing his work early, but there comes McKay, the rim protector that became eligible on December 20th.
Iowa State sticking in the thick of things in the early going with its defense.
Second time through the league, these teams know each other very well.
Selden. Ball is picked off. Here come the Cyclones. 2-on-1. Nader off the bench. And he couldn't get off a good shot that time as they came back with 2-on-1. Selden, he worked long and hard today on his 3-ball, and he misses that shot. It's still Iowa State's lead.
Both teams are trying to push it, but both teams are doing a good job of getting back in transition. Morris penetrates beautifully. Off the dribble.
was able to get close to the rim, nail the floater. It's a 3-point Cyclone lead. Mason penetrates on McKay. Won't stay down. Niang and Nader underneath. Nader comes away with it.
Again, lots of white jerseys back in transition.
Dribbled. Niang did everything as Alexander snatches the defensive rebound.
And so far in this prize fight, lots of jabs, but not a lot of uppercuts and body blows.
Oubre penetrates. Niang comes away. Morris, and the defense is back as it has been all game long for Bill Self. Hogue rifles up a 3 miss. 8-5 Iowa State. 3-point lead, low scoring here in the first half.
Both teams winded now. Substitutions abound next to dead ball.
Ellis wants to go low on Niang in the paint, running hook shots of beauty. Forcing Iowa State to play a half-court game here in the early going.
Watch how Iowa State spreads the floor now. 5 out.
Niang's 3 is on the money. He's hit a pair of 3 balls in this game, and he keeps the Cyclones ahead.
Brent, he's been red hot the last few games, shooting 50% from behind the arc.
They feed Ellis again low on, and a good pass to Alexander. Great second pass inside by Ellis. McKay puts it on the deck, runs through.
This is a fatigued Kansas team right now, Brent. And Iowa State has taken advantage. That time, easy drive by McKay.
Well, here's your first 5 minutes, Fran, and Iowa State really has withstood any run by the Jayhawks. Alexander turns it over, can't get the handle. So we're going to take a break. Bill Self is going to send in 3 substitutes. When you come back, we'll set that lineup for you. From outside, it is George Niang. Iowa State leading at 13-9. Monte Morris from Flint, Michigan. He's the point man for Fred Hoiberg. And Holly Rowe, his mom, is here with us. Met her at practice today.
Well, he seems very at home on a basketball court, and for good reason. His mom, LaTanya Morris, was a high school basketball coach in Detroit. So he grew up as part of her team. He was always one of the youngest, smallest kids. He always played against the older kids. Here, playing with boys 3 or 4 years older than he is. So he is a sophomore that plays like a senior, as Fran likes to say. But more importantly, his mom, LaTanya Morris, is here tonight for the first time at the Jayhawks home. He said, I have to play well and get a win tonight because I cannot play bad in front of my mother.
A little bit of deep breathing. It's hard for mom over there being a spectator.
Yep, she looks like a coach, doesn't she?
You betcha.
You think about Monte Morris coming from Flint, Michigan, and all the great Cyclones. Barry Stevens, Jeff Grayer.
I told Mom it was cold out today. She said, it's colder in Flint.
Exactly.
Here is Morris handling the ball right now, 13-9. His Cyclones have the lead. Thomas has checked in for Hoiberg. Alexander stays. New point man for Bill Self is Devontae Graham.
Quick move.
Great move.
Well, I'll tell you, this Dustin Hogue, man, we've been watching him a year and a half, and he does so many things that help you win games.
Traylor is back in the game also, so they've got 2 bigs out there. Alexander and him, and also for Bill, I see that Brandon Green And looks like an offensive foul is called. It's on Traylor, that's his second. So Bill Self has to get him back off the floor.
What's important about that, as Niang takes a breather right now, is that Traylor does the best job of guarding Niang.
So he went down with a 15-9 score after the Hogue field goal. Iowa State plays a very, very good first 5 minutes here in the Allen Fieldhouse, let me tell you. Thomas is going to feed McKay. Alexander's on him. Goes right by him. Oh, he couldn't stuff it down, but Niang. Feed by Nader inside. And there's going to be a foul called, but a little too good fancy on that dunk.
Well, he almost had it, but I'm going to tell you, they think they can go at Cliff Alexander because of his speed and lack of footwork. And you see how McKay goes right by and tries to get the highlight dunk. It doesn't go. And then Alexander comes right back and fouls.
So Traylor with a pair. Now Alexander with one. And Alexander a little bit shaken up on that play, but the young man has to learn just to move his feet when someone tries to come down that baseline on you.
Yeah, no question. And that's why Alexander is a tough guy for Bill Self to put on Niang when George comes back in this game.
So even though they haven't given up fast break baskets, there are problems here for the Jayhawks in this matchup. Here's Green to Mason. Ellis. That's the go-to guy playing right now is the veteran for the Jayhawks.
Yes, sir. Well, this is some matchup right here. Mason the third and Morris.
Hogue attacks. He is on fire tonight. Yep. Very, very active.
He just puts lots of things into the stat sheet.
Green pulls the trigger on the three.
Amazing. Amazing this kid is so high. Shooting over 50% behind the arc on the season.
Thomas, McKay's out high to screen. Hogue again outside, off to the left, and here come the Jayhawks. Ellis, three, back to back. Iowa State has to stop it right now. Fran, as we come back, Iowa State's lead has dwindled to 1. There's a little bit of a fatigue factor on both sides.
No question about it. And Dustin Hogue, who's been giving Fred Hoiberg so much energy, you know, take a look right here now. Watch. There's nobody on Perry Ellis. Hogue finally decides he's going to try to get out there, but he is cooked and is going to need a blow. And now Fred Hoiberg's gone back with 3 starters.
Yeah, so Hogue will watch Dejean-Jones back on the floor, so too is Niang, I should say. Turn around with the right hand baseline, pretty shot.
Amazing. He's got that soft bank shot off the glass. He just keeps it away from the defender. You can't block it.
Graham kicks back Mason. Ellis, McKay comes over to help out. 21 on the shot. Kansas basketball underneath the hoop. We're going to have to chase Green. He's trying to get open again. He does, Jay, and he's fouled. Now we have a break. 7:59 left in the first. Low scoring. Iowa State leads it. ESPN with an NBA doubleheader Wednesday night at 8. Bulls face the Rockets. 10:30 Mavs. square off against the Warriors. NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm on ESPN.
Well, Brandon Green, Brent, we talked about this guy, the sophomore from Georgia, on fire, man. He comes off the bench, plays with no conscience, hasn't met a shot that he didn't like, and Bill Self likes it that way because look at his numbers as of late.
Two fouls on Long, and so Green knocks down the first free throw. Somebody you're going to have to keep on the floor if he keeps that up.
Bill Self said early in the year that he couldn't get out of his own way. The defense, the effort, not there, but lately he's been instant offense off the bench.
Selden jumps Matt Thomas. Needs help. Niang off a feed to Thomas, but there was a whistle. Got him on the hip.
You notice how many different places on the floor Fred Hoiberg uses Niang? All over the place. Inside, outside. He's like a chess piece.
After the foul, first 35, of course, for the Cyclones. Thomas, long ball into Ellis's hands. Jayhawks shooting 38% here in the first half. And Alexander apparently muscled his way off Tom Eads with a very good look at it. And for Alexander, that's his second personal. So both of the big men now with two fouls.
Yeah. In the first meeting, Brent, McKay did a great job of fronting Kansas's postman. And that time, Alexander with a little too much extracurricular activity.
Niang drives, feeds to McKay. Couldn't quite get the angle he wanted. Kick back Green. There's your three again. On the rebound now. Into McKay's hands.
Cyclones don't have a fast break basket yet.
Morris can't regain the lead. Ellis, three, no. And the Jayhawks retreating defensively. Dejean-Jones goes anyway. McKay underneath, and the ball is stuck. That's a jump ball, and it will be Iowa State basketball. And Bill Self now is forced to use Landon Lucas, 6'10" sophomore out of Portland in this game because of the foul situation with both Traylor and Alexander. So they're both over there on the Jayhawk bench. Now Lucas did log some minutes in game one over in Ames.
Hasn't played much lately, Brent. DNPs in 3 of the last 4.
Iowa State basketball.
Actually, the only game Landon Lucas has played in lately was at TCU. He really bailed out the Jayhawks.
Inside pass to Morris, and Iowa State leads again.
Not just little dribble weave here. Usually Ellis will play one-on-one.
Dumps it in this time and low. And Lucas scores coming off the bench immediately.
He did his work early in the post, and he got great position before the ball got to him.
Dejean spins open. Missed a shot. Battle for the rebound. Tied up. Kansas basketball. Coming down to the 5-minute mark here on the first half. Jayhawks with a 1-point lead and the basketball. Beautiful penetration by Graham.
He's been a big lift since he came back from that turf toe injury. Really rock solid.
Jayhawks with a 3-point lead. Nader off the pass, tapped in. There's a beauty. Hogue back off the bench off that rest. What a key player he is for Hoiberg.
You can run plays for him, but even if you don't, he's going to make things happen.
Graham loses the dribble. Regained by Lucas. Oubre's left-handed three is good. Back down the floor is Mitrou-Long, and he's cut off by Green, who got back defensively. Niang spins, left hand, won't stay down. Battle for the loose ball. Looks like we've got another held ball situation, and this one would go back if that's what it is. Now they're going to separate some of the fellas. Get them out of there.
That's good officiating right there. Jump ball, everybody on the floor. No malice. Just good, tough basketball. They keep floor burns in the Kansas stats. And the number of white jerseys picked up a floor burn right there. Trailer back on Niang, Clint.
And he turns it over immediately with Trailer on the floor. Oubre, tap back, no. Battle for the rebound. It is stopped. No basket. So a foul is called on the play, but the Jayhawks have taken a 4-point lead here in Lawrence.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud to be here, and Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Coming up with the Mazda halftime report, Adnan Burke alongside Jay Williams and Seth Green with a little Carolina blues as Virginia comes up with an emphatic victory. But as for the first half of what we're seeing in this game, Seth, what do you got?
Bill Self must have been paying attention to the Monday microscope. Jay Will said, get back on defense, Jayhawks, and they have. Taking Iowa State out of transition.
BG is the scoring, not Ben Gordon. I'm talking about Brennan Green, already with 7 points for Kansas.
I like the way you guys share the sugar. Lots more of that coming up at the half. Brent, back to you.
It's 28-24 here in Lawrence. And Holly Rowe, what's the situation in the Jayhawk huddle?
Well, Bill Self asked Perry Ellis if he'd had enough rest and could go back in, and Perry Ellis said no, they're exhausted right now. Brandon Green was breathing hard. All the guys are tired right now because they have expended a lot of energy in this first half. It's emotional out here. You can feel the intensity. Bill Self did say, hey, guys, we have a timeout. If you're gassed, let's take a break. Everybody just calm down. Let's win the next 4 minutes.
Jayhawks moving the ball around. Nason on the penetration, kicks to Oubre. Another three for the Jayhawks. They open up their biggest lead of the night.
Story of the first half. No easy baskets for Iowa State. Very timely outside shooting from the league's best outside shooting team.
Niang turns on Trailer and goes over the top.
You know how hard it is to shoot a left-handed hook from 8 feet? That is skill. Watch Green.
Morris got a hand on the ball. Mason regains control. Jayhawks. Down to 6. Trailer maneuvering and scores. Ellis tries to battle in, and he does.
Great hang time right there. Monte Morris just needed to hang for a second to get it up on the square.
A Wednesday night story of a father and son. Hip-hop icon Snoop Dogg and his son, rising football star Cordell Broadus. Snoop and Son, Dad's Dream, Wednesday at 7 on ESPN. And, of course, Wednesday, we will check in on where the high school players have declared to go to college football. I know ESPNU's got full-day plan. SEC Network will come on later that afternoon and update that story for you. Football fans are certainly interested in that. So 33-28, Brandon, it has been the shooting here in the last 5 minutes by the Jayhawks.
Well, it sure has. Kansas shoots 39% behind the arc. Brandon Green got it started right off the bench, Brent, with a rhythm three. Breakdown by Iowa State. Ellis gets one, and then Kelly Oubre, who is really coming into his own. It's fun to see a freshman start out slow and pick up the pace midway through the season.
They are 5 of 10 shooting the three here tonight in the first half. We're inside of 2 minutes. Oubre missed that three. Perry Ellis couldn't rebound it, and it'll be Iowa State basketball here. 1:37 to go, and Dejean-Jones will check back in and replace Long offensively. Dejean-Jones has been very quiet here. He is 0 of 7.
And most of those, Brent, have come in the paint. Kansas has done a good job of challenging him.
Loose, Kansas basketball. On a run, Ellis underneath, blocked by McKay. McKay tracks it down. Hold, turns it over, and this is going to be an easy run out. Ellis.
That's a fatigue turnover by Dustin Hogue. 2 quick turnovers by Hogue, and that's not good for Fred Hoiberg's club.
And another one. Ellis. Mason launches a three. And here comes Morris in a foot race. Head of the pack. And it wouldn't stay down. Now the tired Jayhawks come to the attack. Last shot time, down toward 5. Bill Self urging him, let's go. Oubre at the buzzer. So it wasn't the first 5 minutes in the Allen Fieldhouse. It was the last 5. As the Jayhawk defense shuts down any semblance of a fast break. And they take a 7-point lead, 35-28. And Coach Self is with Holly, so let's go to Holly.
Well, Coach, in your last meeting with Iowa State, they hurt you in transition points, but you've done a great job eliminating those tonight. How have you done that so effectively?
Well, we've gotten back, and, you know, neither team's really shooting the ball great right now. Not a lot of easy baskets, but we got to keep getting back and not give them easy looks. We need to defend the three a little better, though. It
feels like the guys have expended a lot of energy. The intensity's high. What do you worry about in the second half with emotion and energy?
I think that both teams were a little tired. That was some hard-playing guys out there, and certainly we just need to regroup, and we got to tighten up on the offensive end. We're making the game harder than what it is.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Kelly Oubre leading the Jayhawks with 10 points. George Niang scored 10 for Iowa State as we go to Adnan Virk, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams with the Mazda halftime report.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. It is indeed the Mazda halftime report.
Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Verizon. Iowa State and Kansas with the Jayhawks leading at home by 7 moments ago. Our Holly Rowe caught up with Iowa State coach Fred Hoiberg.
Coach Hoiberg, transition baskets were a big part of your success last time against Kansas. 0 in that first half. What does that do to concern you?
Well, they're outscoring us 10-0 on the fast break right now. The biggest thing we're not doing is taking care of the ball. We're not committed to running. Our wings are stopping free throw line extended as opposed to getting all the way down to the corners. And we're just not making very good decisions. 9 turnovers is too much for us. In this building, we talked about coming out and playing smart, playing with poise. We didn't do a good job of that in the first half.
And there's a reason why the Jayhawks only have 5 offensive rebounds.
Exactly, Brent. One of those subtle changes we talked about at the start of the game. Bill Self said, we're not going to crash the glass on the offensive end. We're going to get everybody back. And let's take a look. We'll show you exactly what we're talking about. They were committed in this game to making sure that they get everybody in motion back to the paint. So when a shot goes up, watch Selden now. He's going to get this ball up on the rim. If a white jersey can't get it, they must immediately turn, and you'll count the numbers with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Build that defense before the fast break of Iowa State can get set.
It's a Monday night. Allen Fieldhouse, Lawrence, Kansas. They're Jayhawks with the lead and the first possession in front of Bill Self's bench. Mason on the drive and 1.
That's his first 2 points of the game, Brent. He had 7 assists in that first half, but 0 for 5. Watch how much room Mitrou-Long gives him on the drive, and he's got that ability with that strength to get it right up on the glass.
Still, it is the Jayhawks' biggest lead of the night, 37-28. Iowa State shooting 35%. Waved the basket off. Hogue was fouled before he got to the rim. And Traylor is plagued with his 3rd foul right now.
Well, if I'm Fred Hoiberg right now, I'd go at Traylor.
Niang misses the 3. Back down by the Jayhawks, and here they come again. Turn it over. Morris in a foot race with Mason. Tap back is good. It was good follow by Mitrou-Long. Nothing's coming easy for the Cyclones.
No. I got to tell you, we talked about at the end of the first half. Both teams were gassed.
And Kansas has a deeper bench. Traylor outside. 1 and done. Not necessarily where Self wants him. Dejean-Jones off that iron. He's still not shooting well in this game.
Somebody on that Iowa State bench has got to tell Fred Hoiberg that Traylor's got 3 and to go at him.
Instead, it's Traylor going at the rim for the field goal. Alexander ready to check in. So they're getting some extra minutes out of Traylor here. Niang, long hook shot. Good defense by the Jayhawks. Oubre on the drive, off the front of the iron. Ellis follows. Ellis is okay. Morris drives the other way and answers quickly.
Remember in that first game, that's what Morris did to Mason a number of times. Kansas celebrated the basket by Ellis. Hope's playing center field off a trailer.
And a three by Selden. Jayhawks with their biggest lead of the night. Niang drives and offensive foul, I believe.
And the great thing about that charge is Traylor doesn't pick up a foul on this. Barry Ellis perfectly positioned to take the contact.
His second. McKay. Dejean-Jones and Long will take a seat now. So Hoiberg's searching for a lineup.
You sense, Brent, the first 3 minutes of the second half, Iowa State's been in a rush on offense. Their tempo and rhythm in the half court is not what it has been.
During this remarkable home court run, the Jayhawks have been dominant, 19 straight, and folks, they win by an average margin of 16.7 points during this 19-game run. They are lethal here in Lawrence. That's why they came in a big 7-point favorite in this game over Iowa State tonight. Mason has it stripped away.
Well, this is fun. Right now, we have a street fight. Both coaches going to their bench. I think Iowa State in the half court has not played with poise to start this second half. Very unlike them, but credit Kansas's aggressiveness.
Selden pulls it up. That's two good-looking field goals by number one.
Yep.
It's Jayhawk basketball in Lawrence. Thomas, no good. And a putback on the inside by Niang.
That's exactly what he did. He had inside position on Ellis.
Selden again. In rhythm. He was the first starter tonight out for Bill Self. He shot pregame longer than any of the regulars.
Bulls Rockets at 8. Mavs Warriors at 10:30 Wednesday on ESPN.
Wayne Selden is heating up as he knocks down the last two. He went to the Tilton School in Massachusetts. And guess what? George Niang was a teammate of his. So let's go to Holly Rowe for more on that story.
Well, when I asked Wayne Selden if he and Niang were close, he said, he's like my brother. George said he's probably one of my closest friends in the world. But during the basketball season, because we are so close and because we play for rival schools, we don't talk. They are on a group text with a couple of their buddies, so they group text, but they don't indirectly text to each other.
The crowd applauding Alexander, stuffing Morris, and playing an interesting Monte Morris step. 3 turnovers in this game. 3 now, folks. That ties a career high.
Last time that happened was the first game he played at Iowa State.
Jayhawk defense.
I'm out in Denver. Good news for fans of the Toronto Raptors who are trying to chase down the Atlanta Hawks for top spot in the Eastern Conference. The 19-game winning streak finally over. Anthony Davis, 29 and 13, fear the brow. He was great. Brent, back to you.
Well, Mitch Kupchak, Los Angeles Lakers general manager, here with Matt Doherty, both from North Carolina. Doherty scouting for Indiana.
Indiana Pacers, yep. Donnie Walsh, Kevin Pritchard, who was a great player here, running that franchise. Larry Bird.
Matt Thomas takes the inbounds. feeds down in low, and Graham foul. Well, Frank, can the Cyclones mount some kind of an offensive comeback in this game?
Yeah, I think they can. You know, they have not shot the three ball well, and they've missed a bunch of shots at the rim as well.
Jayhawks have been on fire here, and the see the ball just won't stay down, won't bounce their way. Hope gets it back. Thomas probably had a fresh 35 and backed it out. Jayhawks have started out 6 of 8 in the second half against 3 of 8. And Graham hooked it. Hooked Niang, picks up 2 quick fouls.
George almost traveled there. He's got that spin move down. But Graham with a little contact. They had the mismatch, and they went right at Graham. It was considerably smaller.
Off the inbounds, Niang scores. Nice play.
That should never happen if you're defending under the rim. The man guarding the inbounder must seal off the rim on that play.
Mason will soon replace Graham, who picked up 2 quick fouls, and they set that inbound play. Cyclones must dig in defensively, going the other way. Offensive foul, and that is Green picking up that personal offensively.
No, I think right now you have to play through George Niang. Traylor's done a decent job on him, the best of the big men.
McKay attacks underneath, and Niang is scoring in close, which is what Hoiberg told Holly at halftime that he wanted to do, is to get him closer to the basket. And it pays a dividend that time. It's an 11-point advantage. Off the dribble, Mason. Tap back and in. Good, Alexander.
Perfect position. Backside, ball kissed softly back in.
That time they got that offensive rebound. Niang spins, kick, Morris, 3. No, McKay going for the rebound, and there's going to be another foul call. I believe it's on Alexander underneath, I think. Yes, it is. Alexander has just picked up number 3.
McKay went to jump, and he was never able to leave his feet because the big freshman from Chicago was holding him down.
Now, Traylor checks back out. Traylor also has 3 fouls. So 2 of the big men with 3 fouls. Remember, though, he was able to get Lucas on the floor. Landed Lucas 6'10".
I want this ball going through Niang as much as possible.
And it has been. Spin inside on Ellis. One-stay offensive rebound. Selden. Here comes a 3, and that was out. Ball not staying down for the Cyclones here tonight. One of those nights. Selden had a hot hand a short time ago. Hits Green, the gunner. No, and McKay rebounds. Coming through Niang. His 3 is good.
That's hard to defend, Brent, because Kansas had to run back, take away the fast break at the rim, and Niang comfortable from behind the arc.
Cyclones whittle the lead to 10. Ellis kicks back outside and around the horn to a wide open Selden. Cannot leave that man alone.
Slow rotation. The double came late. That slowed their movement.
Morris again, and it won't stay in. Like there's a lid on it for the Cyclones. Mason drives the other way, and now here comes a run out. Long gives it back to Morris, and he scores. Almost got a little too quick.
Yes, sir. On Saturday, Wayne Selden made that same play with a terrific block.
On Kansas State.
Yes.
He did, yes, indeed. They steal it from Alexander. Long came over on the double team bounce pass. It's a beauty to Long. Stopped by McKay. whittled it to 9.
What a thread-the-needle pass, George Niang. He took a chance, but he got it through the defense, and McKay cleaned up the miss. Take a look now. You're talking about the center, the guy that does everything. Watch how this pass gets right through. Now, Long misses, but the hustle of McKay puts that ball in.
You know, Fran, you've talked about George Niang, that things must go through him, and I think that's exactly what Hoiberg is doing here right now.
Yeah, there's no question. And what you love about this guy, Brent, is he operates from all over the floor. He's like that piece on the chessboard that you can move around. Inside, outside, both blocks. Look how many places we're going to show that he can operate. Both blocks. Here we go. Left side, right side. Shoots the left-handed hook. Makes threes. Really just an effective player. When you think about this guy, he can barely, we know he can dunk, but he barely gets over the rim. Let's face it.
He has 19 and his teammates 26 here tonight. Giving him a chance at the 11:23 mark, and let's see how the Jayhawks answer after Self spoke with them. Oubre and Mason. Selden obviously staying on that floor, and Lucas is back.
I don't know if fans can see this at home, but we're up close. Both teams are expending tremendous energy. See, they're not guarding Traylor at the high post, so Niang is playing center field.
Selden missed that one in. Lucas and McKay. McKay fouled Lucas. Tired players, foul problems. Cliff Alexander needing a breather. He's saddled with 3 of those fouls. ESPN with an NBA doubleheader Wednesday night. At 8, the Bulls will face the Rockets, and at 10:30, the Mavs square off against the Warriors. And, of course, Iowa State coach Fred Hoiberg had a long and illustrious career in the NBA, played for the Bulls and others. Now, Fred, today we were talking about the state of college basketball, and Hoiberg said to me the one thing he would recommend is to shorten the shot clock. Take it down to at least 30. He would prefer it went all the way down to 24, but he said you get so many more possessions in the NBA. What's your feeling about that?
I like it with this caveat. There are very few college coaches, quite frankly, who are as creative as Fred Hoiberg is. I see the same offenses being run over and over. People want to know why the scoring's down. Coaches have to get more creative, and Fred certainly can do that. I like the low clock.
Mason losing it. Hold on, there's timeout. And Whitehead steps in. It's going to be Kansas basketball. .29 on that 35-second shot clock, incidentally, with the ball out of bounds. And here's Lucas. Mason catch and shoot. Get back.
Simple play, back screen, down screen, little flex action. They surprised Iowa State with that.
Iowa State trying to mount a comeback here in the second half. It has been hard going. Niang, and he's turns it over with a travel. Doug Sermon's called traveling that time. That's 12 turnovers for Hoiberg's Cyclones. Remember, Iowa State has beaten Kansas twice in a row. You go back to the Big 12 semifinal. Fran, we were there in Kansas City, and then earlier this year on a Saturday night, and now Oubre is going to be fouled. Kansas fouled him.
Yeah, Kansas does the same thing Iowa State does as far as spreading the floor and giving the athletic young freshman Oubre a chance to drive to his left hand.
Pogue will replace Nader. 10:16 remaining. Oubre left alone. Can't nail it, and there's contact in underneath. I believe this is on McKay. Yes, it is.
Now the redshirt sophomore, Landon Lucas from Portland, Oregon, is causing some havoc in there because he's going right at those crimson bodies. And McKay had to hold him down. Good effort.
Ubre picks the dribble up, and here's Traylor to help. Nice pass by Traylor. Ubre all alone, nobody eyeing, and Traylor picked him up.
Iowa State thought they knew what the offense was. Ubre snuck behind the defense.
Niang's three into Mason's hands. Selden again. Hoiberg very unhappy. Selden has hit 4 of 6 from three-point range, 5 of 9 overall. And Fran, he has been absolutely on fire here in the second half.
And that's because, Brent, his teammates are finding him in great looks. Take a look at the drive by Ubre. We just talked about how Ubre sets everything up with that left-handed dribble. The defense collapses, and Selden is really playing with confidence.
It was interesting how long I watched him out here without any of the regulars shooting. There were some of the youngsters who were out with him who aren't going to play tonight. But he spent a long time shooting from different spots on the floor, and it has clearly paid off for him here tonight.
Some of his biggest games have come in critical times. He had a monster game against Florida here back in December when he dropped in 21.
He has 14 points in the second half. He had only 1 point at the intermission.
Well, Kansas's offense has been outstanding.
Long answers with a three.
And if you're Iowa State right now, you need some stops in the half court because Kansas has given Iowa State their own medicine. They're spreading it out.
Niang forcing Lucas off that block. Getting back outside. Selden missed that. Sort of forced that shot, but he's entitled with the night he's having. Long is cut off, and Selden fouled it.
That's his second. Team foul number 6 on Kansas.
McKay watching. And Perry Ellis.
The Jayhawks replacing Traylor.
Traylor will check back out.
I'm looking at that game clock, Brent, and Iowa State has only 7 fast break points tonight. So everything's had to come in the half court 5-on-5.
Long's got daylight. Got in too far. Looking for help from underneath, and it'll go over to the Jayhawks. Eight minutes on that clock. Jayhawks looking to extend their first place market over the only team that has beaten them. And Ubre, the freshman, knocks down another one.
Boy, he has gotten better and better. I think he lost to contact. He has it in his hand.
So play has been stopped momentarily while he goes over to the sideline here.
Now, this is the only time in the rule book, Brent. If it's an injury, he's got to come out. But a contact, you have unlimited time in order to put that back in, but it's the media timeout anyway.
So at the 7:51 mark, we'll take the break. Well, on Tuesday at 7 Eastern, Indiana will head to Madison to take on the number 5 Badgers, the Big Ten. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic, continues with the Big Ten matchup tomorrow night. As we take a look at the Big Ten, Fran and I were talking about the 1s and the 2 seeds coming up in March in the NCAAs. Obviously, Kentucky appears a lot. Gonzaga rolling. And then you get into the discussion. You've got the Virginias, the Dukes, Wisconsin, Arizona, Villanova, and do not overlook this Kansas team.
Yep, no question. Kansas, we've said this from the early part of the year. They had as much room for growth as anybody in the top 10 because they had so many young players. And we're seeing that with guys like Oubre and Selden, the sophomore. Frank Mason, also a sophomore. This is a very young Kansas team. People tend to forget that.
Holly, what was Coach Hoiberg's message during that timeout?
Well, as usual, he was very calm, as he always is. But his message to his players was, hey, we've got plenty of time left. 7:51. He said the biggest key, we've got to get stops, and then we've got to get out. He wants that transition game back in full force. It's been better in the second half, but he needs more.
And Niang missed a shot. They try to go to Ellis. Loose ball. And he's wrapped up with Hogue. So the foul is going to be on bench number 22.
I'm going to tell you something underrated about Perry Ellis tonight. He does not have a foul. And so he's been able to do a really good job in the second half of guarding George Niang without the probability of having to sit down.
What would you give the Jayhawks tonight? An A on the performance so far?
Yes. With an extra credit right there.
Yeah, Mason penetrating again. He's back on the free throw line.
I said this to you before the game. When we talked to Bill Self today, he had a little twinkle in his eye.
You did?
About his team being ready. He relished this. Both of these coaches are outstanding. We talked about the adjustments both teams would make, and I think Bill Self has got to be pleased with how his team has responded.
Into Ellis's hands, and another foul against the Cyclones. Just not going Iowa State's way here tonight. They withstood the first 5 minutes, but then since then, it's been all Jayhawks.
Jayhawks have made a bunch of outside shots and kept Iowa State from doing what they do well, which is run the basketball.
Niang could use a little shooting help here, and underneath Lucas muscling Hogue, and the foul is on him.
This young man, Landon Lucas, Brent, he redshirted his first year. He didn't play in 3 of the last 4 games, but he's always ready. His dad played at the University of Oregon and was the same type of player, Richard Lucas, a tough, hard-nosed guy.
Remember when the Jayhawks didn't get to the line in their game 1, but guess what? This is only the second time that Iowa State has been on the free throw line tonight. Yep. There you go.
Turnabout is fair play.
Lucas. Jones brings it back down. The follower is Hogue, stripped away. Oubre coming back down. All white underneath. An offensive putback.
Oubre's like Gumby out there. Elastic Man. He's got the Gumby hairdo, too.
Dejean-Jones nails the 3, and he's been relatively quiet until that. .620 remaining in this game.
Right now, if you're Kansas, you're going to run some clock, spread the floor like they've done. They've got a number of guys that can play isolation basketball.
Mason off the dribble, left-handed, carving him up.
And that's one of them.
Dejean-Jones on the free throw line.
Oubre he hammered him on that drive.
That's his first personal foul.
Well, I think Kansas, and I mentioned this to you earlier in the second half, they really have sped up that half-court offense of Iowa State. Not in rhythm, not the Iowa State team you're used to seeing.
I think ever since that loss on that Saturday night, this rematch has been a point of emphasis for Bill Self and his coaching staff. It's an outstanding coaching staff, and they have done some job here tonight. They were ready for the Cyclones.
Bill Self told us he stayed in the office till about midnight Saturday night after that K-State game. Got up early Sunday morning, was back in.
Looking for their 20th consecutive win here in Lawrence. Now pressure from the Cyclones to do anything they can as they approach the final 5 minutes. And timeout was called by Selden. This will be a 30 as they bring it over. The one thing that I see, and you've alluded to it, the young players, Bill Self is developing depth on this Jayhawk team.
Yes, he is.
You know?
And the reason he is because he holds players accountable.
Absolutely.
It would have been very easy early in the year to stick Alexander and Oubre into the lineup because they were high school All-Americans. That's not how it works at the great programs. You earn your keep. If you're not ready, you sit. And how did those two guys respond? Fabulously, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a good coach does. You hold them to a high standard, and they've met it. And now we're watching guys blossom, Brent, and particularly Oubre.
Yeah. So, Holly, it's been successful with Coach Self working with Oubre.
Well, that's right. I asked Kelly Oubre today at practice, what do you know now that you didn't know a month ago? And he said, just how hard I have to work to do my job. He said, Bill Self has coached me harder than any coach I've ever had. I wasn't used to that. I didn't like sitting on the bench. It was painful. He said that got his attention right away, Self holding him accountable, and that's made all the difference.
Crowd thought there should be a foul call. The official right there awarded it as a turnover. Ball belongs to Iowa State, down 16.
Iowa State's got to play quick here, but it's been the defense that's really given them problems.
Just like that.
Yeah, that's not a shot that you really want to take right there, but that's one of those examples, as I've told you, that they've sped Iowa State up tonight. Kansas has.
Pressure.
McKay hasn't had a great game, Brent, but his size and length really helps this defense.
He's giving Selden trouble on the inbound. Green comes back to help it out. Head man now is Ellis. He'll pull it back out. They'll kill a few seconds. Iowa State gambling now defensively.
See if Bill Self goes back with 2 point guards in this situation. That's one of those plays. Yeah. That's where Bill Self says about Brandon Green. Sometimes he can't get out of his own way. Didn't need to run the defender over. And that's what he's telling him right now.
But just as you called, Frank, Graham is out there with Mason. So Bill has gone to the 2 point guards. Ellis, Lucas logging some minutes here tonight, and Selden, the shooter, stays on the floor. Thomas penetrates. Lucas cleans up that rebound, sealed off McKay very well.
Yeah, this 2 point guard set, teams do this. It just takes a lot of pressure off Frank Mason III. He can operate on automatic pilot on a couple of possessions on the offensive end.
Mason. Selden again on fire in the second half.
He's got that new haircut because of his mom.
Dejean-Jones able to finish at the rim. Morris returns for Iowa State.
Checks in for Iowa State.
Time 4:29. Kansas trying to close the deal on a 20-game home winning streak. Long with a great steal, and McKay puts it in.
McKay's a nuisance up there because of his ability to really blind the passer.
Now the Jayhawks will see if they can get it down inside of 4 minutes here before they take their shot. Cyclones have to be aware of where Selden is at all times tonight. They have turned him loose frequently, and that has not been good. Mason will fire it up with 6 on the shot. And there's a foul on Morris. Been that kind of a night for the Cyclones, friend. Things just not going well.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And in part by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
Well, Verizon, did you see that? And it is time for that feature brought to you by Verizon. Selden tonight, 6 of 11, 5 of 7, 18 points. Fran, he had only 1 at the intermission.
He's been on fire, and he hasn't even outscored his former high school teammate, George Niang, who has 19, but they have been a critical 18 points tonight for the sophomore from Boston.
And he is our Phillips 66 player of the game as the Jayhawks close in on a 20-game home winning streak. Their average margin here, 16.7 points. They lead this one over the second-place Iowa State Cyclones, 73-57. And Mason can get to double digits. He had missed his first 2 free throws, and now because he was fouled shooting the 3, he's still got 1 more coming.
This young man has grown up over the course of his sophomore year. Bill Self says probably the most valuable Jayhawk.
Into Morris's hands. Iowa State averaging 77 points a game in the conference. And the drive by Long to the rim, and the Jayhawks quickly get the ball into Graham's hands. Iowa State trying to defend all over the floor, and there's a held ball with Selden, and it'll go over now to the Cyclones at the 3:30 mark.
Really good job by Dejean-Jones of just reaching in without fouling.
Cyclones trying to move fast, and Niang's back-to-back baskets now.
See, that's what you call a comeback offense. No wasted time. Go right to the rim.
Ellis. Tap back. McKay. Great hustle right now by the Cyclones. Down 13. Looking to edge closer. Jones couldn't stuff it, but he's on the free throw line. He'll shoot a pair.
Brent, this is a perfect example of offensive creativity. When you're down 13 or 14 late, you have to have a comeback offense. And that's exactly what Iowa State has done the last couple possessions.
Well, Super Bowl is done, and spring training, it is just around the corner. Pitchers and catchers in 3 weeks, and there's Hall of Famer George Brett. His Kansas City Royals, of course, one of the great stories of last year's baseball season, and he's a very active sports fan. I've seen him in Manhattan, and now here tonight we see him in Lawrence, Kansas, one of the great hitters of all time.
One more turnover. This will get interesting.
Trailers back on the floor, and Ellis and 1. Less interesting, Frank.
Yep. But see, that's good basketball by Kansas. Don't mess around with the ball in the backcourt. As long as you got the numbers and Ellis at the other end, the finisher, let him go ahead. Put points on the board.
At the line, shooting 1, Mary Ellis.
just inside of 3 minutes. 14 for Perry Ellis here tonight. Long fouled on the 3, and he will shoot 3 free throws, and the clock is stopped. Not a lot of quit in the Cyclones. Did you notice that, my partner?
Absolutely. And you know, if you're a high school coach at home, learn from this right here. Iowa State's got to throw caution to the wind and have a comeback offense, and they know exactly what they want to do.
Missed 2 of 3. Tracked down by the Jayhawks. That was Graham. He and Mason trying to get up. Traylor helps out the big man, the veteran. Tries to get it inside. They turn it over, and here they come again. Niang. Dejean-Jones, long 3 ball. And look what we found.
Here we go now. Lots of pressure. Try to steal it.
They'll foul Perry Ellis.
That's actually not a bad foul. Ellis about 69%. So you do have a chance. I don't know what this margin will end up, but I know it's been one of those nights where the ball just hasn't dropped for Iowa State. This would be a great rematch in Kansas City.
There's a difference with the youngsters who stick around.
Yeah,
and play
you know what, Brent?
You really, you just see it at people like Perry Ellis.
Yep. And if you're Bill Self, would you rather have Andrew Wiggins for a year or Perry Ellis for 4? That's a conundrum, you know, something to think about. Niang, same thing.
Turned it over. Traylor got it. Here comes Graham. Head to Selden. Selden thought about running clock, and he said, I can't pass his money up. Long's 3. Offensive rebound and a putback by Morris, who hustled in underneath. Inside of 2 minutes to go. And the one thing that, you know, Kansas, just their ability here in the Allen Fieldhouse, the way they played tonight, that, of course, is your headline. That is your story. They're going to apparently win 20 straight games here in Allen. But the second story is the fact that the Cyclones did not go quietly into the night.
No, you know, the basketball gods were not with them. They had some shots that went in and out, tip in, missed shots early. Now, credit Kansas's defense and credit Kansas's with timely shooting tonight. Really have done a good job of executing their offense.
There are any number of signs. We see those signs, folks. That means that Iowa State has got the Jayhawks' attention. When you think about their top rivals in this conference, and I know a lot of folks outside of this area would say, oh, it's got to be Kansas State, got to be Kansas State. I don't think so, because of the way they dominate Kansas State. This, to me, is the Jayhawks' best rivalry. They had lost their last 2 until tonight, and they have come out firing. Ellis fouled in the backcourt. And Fran, you know, at the start of the night, you talked about the ideal college player because they stick around.
No question about it. You know, likely these guys are 4-year guys. They're going to put prolific numbers up, and every coach who can get the one-and-done guy, the Nerlens Noel, who, by the way, was a high school teammate of Niang and Selden, the Andrew Wiggins, the Joel Embiid. Sure, you want those guys, but you gotta have these guys. Perry Ellis, a McDonald's All-American. Niang was undershadowed a little bit, overshadowed, I should say. Just love the way they play.
Inside of 2 minutes remaining here. Niang putting it on the deck, and he is fouled by Mason.
First personal foul.
Well, 2 of the top 5 teams are on ESPN and ESPNU tomorrow night. On 7 on ESPN, it'll be the Big Ten match, Indiana-Wisconsin. Then over on the U at 7, Kentucky, #1 and undefeated, will host Georgia. The SEC battle as Niang's free throw rattles in and Hogue checks in from the side. 139 and a 12-point difference here.
Told you I drove over Thursday night to see Kentucky play at Missouri.
Yeah.
And I was with my buddy John Calipari after the game, and I told him, I said, smile. You know, nobody was smiling on that team. There's so much pressure on them. They're 20-0, maybe 21-0 now. But they're on a mission.
Niang checks back out. The difference is 11. 139 full court press. They trap in the corner. Here's Graham open to kill some time. And he's fouled by Long. Now Niang will check back in. Looks a little gimpy, doesn't he?
Yeah,
right
no, he's given a lot of energy tonight. We mentioned this throughout the game. This was a war early, and we saw the fatigue on both teams' faces.
I would think that Perry Ellis is a strong candidate for Player of the Year in the Big 12. When you think about it, the way they're rolling, you think about his senior leadership. Melvin Edgem won it last year for Iowa State, and he was a great warrior. But I remember we did the tournament one year, and Ellis was the player of the Big 12 tournament.
It might have been his freshman year, in fact. Made the all-tournament team and was a monster. Yeah, and he's got one more year after this to pile up more numbers.
1:30 remaining. Morris fires a 3 and fouling underneath. That was Green who went down hard after pulling the rebound down. 121. So when you take a look, Fran, at the Iowa State schedule coming off of this game here at Kansas, they've got Texas Tech back home, and of course they owe the Red Raiders one because the Red Raiders handed Hoiberg and the Cyclones their worst loss of the year.
And then we will see the Cyclones at Oklahoma next Monday night.
Yes, we will. We'll follow them down there. They've still got a rematch. Big win when they went to Morgantown. They beat West Virginia there. Take a look at the Cyclones schedule.
Hey, by the way, West Virginia is 18-3, and Bob Huggins has done an unbelievable job.
Dejean-Jones puts it back. 12 with a minute to go here, and Mason's going to be fouled. He'll come up and shoot some free throws now. You know, you mentioned Coach Huggins, and I know he's on your honor roll, your weekly honor roll, the Big 12, Frank.
We squeezed him on this week. You know, I didn't want to hear any complaints from Bob Huggins, so we squeezed him on. They're having a monster year. Devin Williams for Bob Huggins inside. And, you know, Brent, I'm trying to think of a team in the country that plays harder than West Virginia, and it's not easy to come up with anybody. They press morning, noon, and night. They are unbelievable.
It's going to be interesting. You and I will have Kansas in Morgantown.
Yep.
Take a look at that game. And, of course, West Virginia will be all alone in second place after this game. Iowa State will give way by a half game. So that will be a big game coming up for the Jayhawks. We will see them on the road in Morgantown and then later in Manhattan against Kansas State. And regardless of what's going on over in Manhattan, Wildcats always play them tough.
No question. You know, I was here Saturday, and the Wildcats actually played well the last 30 minutes of that game.
You know, it's a 40-minute game.
I know it. No, they got, you know, when you fight the, what do you got to do when you fight the bully on the block,
you
right?
got to step right up to it.
You got to get the first punch in, even if you have to sneak it in. and that's a compliment.
That's what they taught you back in Brooklyn.
That's what they taught me, and that's how you play. No, that's how you play
Absolutely.
a favorite. You have to let the favorite know we're here to make this a street fight. And by the time Kansas State figured that out, it was a technical knockout.
Niang goes over to the sideline, and it looks like Hoiberg has called off fouling here with a minute to go, and the Jayhawks are headed for their 20th consecutive win. McKay, though, he hasn't quit. The crowd didn't like it, but McKay said, no, I'm just not going to play that way. That's just not in my DNA. I'm going to jump out here. But anyway, it'll be the 20th consecutive Jayhawk win here in the Allen Fieldhouse, one of the great settings. And this crowd arrived early here tonight. They were ready.
They sure were. This building is just it's hard to describe. I would tell a fan who is a college basketball fan, once in your life, figure out a way to come in here and watch a game in here. Oh, Sharon Collins is still beloved here. Helped win that 2008 championship.
So they also wound up, remember I said it was a low-scoring first half, but they put it up into the 160s now.
Someone's going to like that.
Oh, yes. As McKay, he's still battling away.
See, I love what Iowa State's done, Brent. They've given themselves a chance. Now, Kansas, to their credit, has handled the pressure well. But they had a comeback game plan. Just wasn't to be.
Let's listen to this crowd bringing on home now. In game one, there were 5 Cyclones in double figures. Here tonight, there are 5 Jayhawks in double figures. Payback, Big 12 style. The Jayhawks with 20 consecutive wins here in Lawrence. Showing you why they're still in first place in the Big 12. (89-76) is your final. Jayhawks. Coming up next is SportsCenter. They'll follow up on the stories emanating from last night's New England Patriot victory over Seattle, as Brian Priscilla and Holly Rowe and Brent Musburger say so long from Lawrence, Kansas.
This is SportsCenter.